And we are live. What's going on, everybody? I am Adam. This is Highly Articulated, and we're gonna talk about toys. How does that sound? That's what we always do. And there's not a ton of news this week, I will be perfectly honest. But the news there is certainly one news topic that seems to be one of the biggest talking points in action figure news in a while, and it is that Space Zombies from Mars is launching on March 1st. No, that is not what I'm talking about. I will mention a little bit about that, but obviously I'm talking about what is it called? The Marvel Legends Maximum Series Spider-Man. I wanted to get the name right because, they might have spent a lot of money to come up with that title. So I do want to, do that justice. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I have a lot of opinions about the Maximum Series Spider-Man and what the Maximum Series might mean for Marvel Legends, and the impact that may have on other Hasbro lines, and on Hasbro collectors, and on and on and on. You don't have to agree with me at all. I totally understand that. I've heard other people talk about this figure and not agreed with them. And I've heard people sort of say a lot of similar things to what I'm going to say. Buy what you love and collect what brings you happiness and brings you joy, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because if you see value in something and somebody else doesn't, it's my dad used to always say that everything is worth what somebody is willing to pay. And so, ultimately, I'm not going to sit here and say that, this Spider-Man isn't worth something. I'm going to sort of present, how I see the value relative to everything else that's kind of on the market, or, with similar characteristics and things like that. And that's it. This is just me kind of ranting, and I'm going to talk about other stuff too. I'm not just going to, it's not going to be an hour of me ranting about the Legends Maximum series. There's some specific Spider-Man stuff, like I said, but there's I think there's like more implications for this Maximum series line, which I'll kind of mention. But yeah, intriguing that this Maximum series Spider-Man has seemed to really people have very, very strong opinions about this, and it seems as though, at least in my opinion, and I mean, I don't watch every single video of every single YouTuber, and I don't read every comment on every Facebook post. To be perfectly honest, I don't even I'm not even in any Marvel Legends Facebook groups, and I barely read the comments on Hasbro because obviously, the best of the best comments are going to be in there. I leave those for YHS and their sad comments on Tuesdays. But as I said, everybody seems to have a pretty strong opinion about these. I will first say this: I did not order this Spider-Man figure, and I probably wouldn't have, even if it was the price point that I thought it should be at. Because quite simply, I got the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man 2-pack, as well as that first appearance Spider-Man during the dark ages of sort of COVID stuff. This was overpriced. So was that first appearance Spider-Man. I am not denying that this 2-pack was more expensive than it should have been, and that I don't really know anybody that really wanted the other figure. Everybody was buying it for this Spider-Man. First appearance Spider-Man, though, that Ditko Deco, the sort of dark, almost black suit, the different Spider. That is, to me, that's like, that was a must-have. And this Spider-Man is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, did they kind of fix the one thing that I had an issue with? On this Renew Your Vows Spider-Man with the Maximum Spider-Man? Yes. But there's kind of an asterisk that goes with that, because it's sort of like the asterisk is the price. But anyway, I'm gonna say hello to the chat, and then I'll sort of repeat some of the disclaimers, and then I'll get right into it. Eric Dryjow was here. Good to have you, buddy. Ray Paz, Brick something. I can hear you fiddling with that desk. Let's see. Brian Brink is here. Gabrielle is here. Yeah, and Brick said, "Yeah, you're right. The only news is Space Zombies from Mars. Your figures are cheaper too." Looking forward to hearing your take on Maximum Spidey. Well, good news. You're gonna hear. I will, just for the sake of this, somewhat divulge pricing for Space Zombies from Mars, just as a reference point. John of the Collecting Brothers is here. Let's see. Rowdy Riles is here as well. Collecting Brothers says, I pre-ordered out of curiosity. Awesome. I think a lot. I genuinely know a lot of people that sort of have channels or post reviews or things like that bought it out of curiosity and bought it to see if it's worth $50. I'm gonna wait and see what other people have to say about it, and then I might pick it up later. And if everybody says it's worth $50, then maybe I'll be swayed, and that's part of this as well, which I'll get to. Yeah, I'll get to it. Ray Pass says, I passed. It's not that serious. I'm happy with my Mofex and Mofex knockoff from CT Toys. It's as good, if not better, than that Max Spidey. I do hope whoever gets it absolutely loves it. Me too. I hope so too. I genuinely hope that everybody that gets this opens it and has no regret, no sort of remorse for, the purchase. And I don't think they will initially, but I'll get to that too. Rowdy Ryle says, I pre-ordered Maximum for the reviews, and because I wanted it, I knew it would be $50, and I know it isn't worth $50. That being said, Renew Your Vows and Amazing Fantasy is only slightly too tall. The Amazing Fantasy one is a little smaller and a little slimmer, but it doesn't have toe articulation, and it doesn't have the right neck articulation. So that's the thing with Spider-Man, and again, I'll get to that. Is that like we keep getting new versions, and it's sort of like you couldn't have done this before, but anyways, Maximum needs to be in between. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so Renew Your Vows is too tall, and Amazing is too small, so you want to find that middle point. Absolutely. I see it, first appearance as like the teenage Spider-Man, like the high school kid. Whereas like a lot of the '90s Spider-Mans, it's like he's he hasn't aged in like 30 years. But he's more like he's an adult, right? So although they have had series, they have had books. I can't remember what it was called. But they did that Spider-Man run where each issue was like a decade of Spider-Man's life. And that was a really good book. And I thought it was kind of fun to sort of see Spider-Man get older. Unlike Wolverine, he does age. He does kind of max out, and then he kind of retires from being Spider-Man at the end of that comic book, from what I remember. I can't remember. I read it a few years ago now. Yeah. Rowdy Rod says, I swapped the feet and head, so he's perfect now. There you go. And I know a lot of people that put articulated toes on that Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, and that kind of solved that problem. The articulation of the head and neck, still, to me, it's a little bit of an issue, but there you go. Let's see. Christopher Bouchard is here as well. Spidey has always been 5'10", and Renew Your Vows puts him at 6 foot. There you go. So that's totally get it. And that's the thing. So I will say this: I like Spider-Man. I couldn't have told you how tall Spider-Man is. I couldn't tell you how tall Peter Parker is. That kind of stuff. So for the people that are like really keeping track of those details, I really hope that they get exactly what they want. And I think it's, there's an aspect too that I'll get to of like Hasbro says like, oh, we listen to our customers, we listen to the collectors. What were you doing before that? What were you doing? Like, I don't know. A brick. I watched the first. I only watched the first episode, but I just haven't had time to get into it. I enjoyed it. I know that reviews are kind of mixed. I like it. I dig it. If they did a Marvel Legends of that figure, I'd probably buy it. I think it's a cool kind of take. My kids were less into it because it wasn't the Spider-Man that they know, and they've seen the '90s animated series. They've seen the more modern ones. George, who is 2.5, enjoys Spidey and his amazing friends, like the kids version of the cartoon, and that wasn't their Spider-Man. So like I'll probably have to watch it on my own. So that's why I've only watched the first episode, but I really liked it. Enjoyed sort of the spin on the character being sort of an alternate universe. Enjoyed the costume, enjoyed that animation style. I'm down for it. Completely down for it. John says, I like my Spidey yoked out like in the animated series. I do not. I like slim, slender. Like for me, that's part of the appeal of Spider-Man, is that he's just this like nerd that is like, for all intents and purposes, not spectacular, not amazing. It gets bitten by a spider and then becomes, more than that. And to me, that was, he's kind of similar to the X-Men in that respect, where it was sort of like, this kid that shouldn't be a hero is a hero. Anyways, that has nothing to do with my brand. But anyways, let's see. Yeah. Anyways, there he is. Okay. Let's begin the rant. But before I do, I will say this again. My disclaimer. If you like this Spider-Man, get it. If you think it is worth, the price point, that's awesome. If you see the value in it and you can justify it, that's fantastic. Get it. Enjoy it. But I will start with the price point and I will sort of work back from there. This is the maximum Spider-Man. So, maximum meaning like the greatest, the biggest, the best, the most sort of the most, right? This is just a Marvel Legends figure with a few extra accessories. I don't get it. I don't. When I look at this, it's still a Marvel Legends figure. A Marvel Legends figure is $25, up to $30 if it's like, whatever, it's some exclusive or something like that. I know that they're priced between $25 and $30. It's a brand new sculpt. Okay, so this is a from the ground up brand new sculpt. Wasn't Renew Your Vows Spider-Man? Wasn't, MCU Spider-Man? Wasn't, every figure at some point a ground up new sculpt? Isn't new sculpts why people keep coming back? I don't see that justifying the price point. I'm just gonna say that right now. Ground up new sculpt to me is like, oh, okay, great. So you're gonna use this 8 times before you do another ground up new sculpt, and the Ultimate Series Spider-Man will be a ground up, and it'll be $60, or whatever the price is, right? You put your wares out there, you put the price on them. If people want them, they buy them. I'm just saying the price point is a big sticking point for me, because ground up new sculpt means nothing. That happens every day in every toy line, and people don't really make a big deal about it. There have been things about Spider-Man that people have want improved for a while, and they tried to improve them with this figure. I don't think that justifies an increase in the price point, especially when you're going to be doing a Spider-Man figure, which is going to sell so many units that, if you amortize the cost of the molds on this figure alone, you're still probably paying less, like less per unit back to the mold than most toy lines are. Okay. So when you say like, oh, it's ground up, so that's, it costs more. Okay. But you're making, 50,000 units of this, and somebody's out there that's paying probably more for molding costs because they don't have the same price, agreements with the factories to make 500 units. And so I don't, that one doesn't fly. Okay. The ground up new sculpt, nope, that one doesn't work for me. A new articulation system. That is a quote. What? What do you mean a new articulation system? That makes me think that this is like SH Figure Arts level of articulation. It is not. Okay. This is a Marvel Legends figure, and there's issues with the articulation system that they've used here. It doesn't bend at the waist, or it doesn't rotate at the waist. It's Spider-Man. I know that his torso, I know that diaphragm cut allows him to rotate at the chest. So does this guy. Okay, it's the exact same articulation scheme that this figure has. They've added a cut in the wrist so that they can use those swappable hands. It probably has nothing to do with anything other than that. And they added articulation in the neck. That was my one complaint about this guy. When I kind of, the one thing that I would improve about Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, or the two things, would be that he could rotate at the waist, and that he would have that extra piece of articulation here at the collar. It's not a new articulation scheme. G.I. Joe classified figures all have that. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom all have that. Tons of lines have that joint at the neck, so that the neck can rotate, so that you get a little bit of like side to side in the neck, so that it can look up a little bit more. And then when you tilt the head, it doesn't have to like articulate as much from the base of the head. This guy looks up pretty well, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. The break in the sculpt sucks because of how they've got this sort of broken up. If you put that joint in the neck, that neck would be able to go up, and then he wouldn't have to go so far up from the base of the head. Okay, so they improved the articulation. I will give them that. In one aspect, the neck is better. That's not groundbreaking. I'm not buying that. I just don't buy that. Um, the hips are worse. So they I don't think I have a picture of it. I don't think I pulled the picture of it. Actually, you can kind of see it here. The hips are worse because what they did is they basically splayed out the hips, like the leg joint a little bit, so that the hip kind of clears the waist piece. Um, it looks weird when he's standing because his like, I don't know what the bone is. I don't know what the, but like his hip sits outside his like the like if you stand and look in a mirror, you there's kind of a straight line here on a normal body. This doesn't stick out on a normal person. Um, so they made this look weird so that he can lift his leg higher in relation to his waist. Okay. That makes the sculpt look kind of off, in my opinion. What else did they do? Am I missing something? Like, I'm genuinely like, I've been playing with this for the last couple days. I've been putting this in all the poses that they put their promotional shots, and I can hit all of them almost exactly the same as that thing can. The only one that I can't do is I can't get his head to look up quite as much. Other than that, I mean, I can manipulate these hips to sort of get to where I need it to be to do just about all those poses. So sculpt, okay. I mean, I don't. Did you need an entirely new sculpt? Maybe. Is it a brand new articulation scheme? I don't think so. So I don't know how those two things kind of like work together. Okay, so then we're down to like the accessories. All right. So there you've got all the accessories. You've got literally everything that comes in the box. They list this figure as coming with 20 accessories. I'm counting them, okay? And I'm counting 5 web effects. So the two webs, the tadpole, the trap, the shield. That's 5. I see accessory number 6 is the Spidey sense. 7, 8 are the alternate heads. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 with the hands. They're saying 20. I think they're counting the piece that pegs into these hands as accessories. They must be, because that's the only way I can get to 20. No, they're including this. Never mind. They're including this stand, which gives us 19. I don't know. The numbers are off. 20 accessories. I don't know. It's 20 accessories. That's what they're saying. It is what it is. That's cool. That's a lot more accessories than you normally get with a Marvel Legends figure. I will give them that. However, it's Spider-Man. Should he not come by default with at least one web accessory? Should he not come at least with one extra set of hands, maybe 2 extra set of hands, probably 3 extra set of hands? Have we not gotten multiple, web effects before? Like, I have a web effect right here from one of the Spider-Mans that I have. I have another web effect that I think looks kind of like this one somewhere. The shield's new. It's kind of cool. We've never got the Spidey sense. I love the Spidey sense. Doesn't Can of Beams do this? Aren't people just making these on their own? Is that really that complicated? Hands, the glove off web shooter ones, I dig those. Okay, those are cool. I like those. I'm glad that they're in there. You get fists, you get sea grip hands. Sea grip hands make sense. Have we seen sea grip hands before with Spider-Man? He needs to hold his web, so I get that. I like that. The sort of hero pose hands and then thwipping hands. So there's 3 sets of hands in there that I think should be with like every Spider-Man. Personally, I think it's because it's Spider-Man and you're going to sell 1 million units. They should be in there every single time. The glove off whipping hands I see as like a unique accessory. The shield I see as a unique accessory. The tingle I see as a unique accessory. The thwipping webs that plug in hands, I think those are really, really cool. But I just think that should be the new thwipping hand going forward. It should just have that hand. You should be able to plug those web effects in. Just get rid of the normal thwipping hands. Just do the ones with just make the plug small enough that it's like not that noticeable. And moving forward, that should be the standard. Here's some offerings that we got before, just to reference. So Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows came with fists, came with the hero pose, spread open hands, and came with whipping hands. So, three of the six sets you've been getting for quite some time. You got the same ones with the Black Suit Spider-Man and the Secret Wars. So, what are you really getting here? That's more than you get for $25 or 25 to $30. Let's be generous and let's say 3 sets of hands. Let's say all 5 of the web accessories, or let's say 4 web accessories, the tingle. So 2 sets of hands, 4 web accessories, the tingle. You get alternate heads most of the time. So maybe you get 1 extra head that does not look good. The Peter Parker head sculpt, it has a smug look on its face, like like a Hasbro executive was like, just take a picture of my face. This is how we feel about people buying this. No, they didn't do that. I'm being facetious. How much does that amount to? Let's say on the high end, this is a $30 figure with the things that I think should be included default with a Marvel Legends figure. 2 sets of hands, an extra head, and 4 effects. Is that worth $20? Like, genuinely, that's the question that I thought at $40 this would make sense. I would go $40. Okay, you're $10 or $15 above normal retail price for a Marvel Legends figure. You're getting new stuff in there. You're getting more stuff in there. Okay. The web effects, though, let's be honest. Like I said, we've been getting web effects for a while. There's been different ones, different versions. I have better web effects. I said this before, and I forgot to look up the guy that made them. But like with what is this? This is oh man, flower arranging. What's the floral decorating wire? You can make these webs, and they're posable. They will do what you want. They're not like cheap little bendy ones. I have 2 of them. I have that one that has no paint, and then I have this one that has some paint apps on it. That make it a little more, McFarlane Spider-Man-esque. So for this Maximum Spider-Man, I think this would probably be the appropriate one. For Renew Your Vows or Amazing Spider-Man, maybe this is the one. My point being, I don't know. Price point wise, I wanted to bring that up. So we got Renew Your Vows. This was overpriced when it came out. It was $57 for 2 figures, which everybody was pretty angry about. Now, that being said, you're looking at what, $29 per figure. So that's where I'm putting that high estimate of a Marvel Legends figure at $30, right? $30 for 1 figure. You got 2 figures for $57. You got 2 figures for $57. Secret Wars, which is to the best of my knowledge, like I said, I don't collect all the Spider-Man figures. So to the best of my knowledge, this is the most recent release of a Spider-Man figure. Was like $26. So that's where I'm sort of basing what you get. And I didn't even include this little sort of Secret Wars thing that you get with it, right? I'm looking at figure, 2 sets of hands, and this. You don't get this with the Maximum Spider-Man. You shouldn't, because it wouldn't make sense. But you get an accessory with this guy that you don't get with the other one. So it is what it is. This set, I think, was $55. You get 2 figures. You get a bunch of alternate heads. You get the hands that I think you should get, although I do think Spider-Man should have come with the hero pose hands. But you do get that cool, like, mask off accessory that looks really, really good. But there you go. I mean, we're talking like $25 to $30 for one of these. So I'm just using these as sort of reference. Here's another reference. This was $57. There's a lot going on here. They're not going to be able to reuse this 6 times. There's no way they sold as many Mojos as they will sell Maximum Series Spider-Mans. There's absolutely no way. So production-wise, for anybody that doesn't know, the more units you make, the less the cost goes down, the more units you make. I guarantee they're making more Maximum Spider-Man figures than they made of this Mojo figure. Now, that brings me to another point. This figure is sold out everywhere. I'm sure somebody's going to say in the comments that this figure is sold out everywhere. This figure is listed as sort of available to ship May of this year, which gives us, depending on when it lands in May, basically 2 months. So it gives you March, April. If it's end of May, 3, and we're mid-month February, so it's 3.5. I don't know how their production schedule works. I don't know. I don't know if this figure is produced yet or not. If this was in stock and it sold out, it would be one thing. The fact that this hasn't been released yet and will not be released until May makes me think that there's a good chance they were gauging interest with the pre-order, but that they also created artificial scarcity by making this sell out everywhere. If this sells out everywhere before it goes into production, that is artificial scarcity because they have the means to make more figures. And if this is sold out everywhere before it's made, and they can adjust their production quantities, it's ethically gray, but really good marketing. Because if you saw this sell out everywhere, you were on the fence and you saw this sell out everywhere, and it pops back up, you're way more likely to buy it. So if we miscalculated and we have another case and you can buy it on Hasbro Pulse, that case is going to be gone instantly. Like every quantity that they put up will sell out faster because people will start sort of perceiving this as a hard to get figure. Despite, as far as I can tell, like this isn't in production yet. So they didn't tell you the price. When they did, everybody went, that's too much. But everybody wanted Spider-Man, so they bought it, and then it sold out. And then people go, oh, well, if it's selling out, it's going to be hard to find. And if it's hard to find, I might be able to flip it. So they're going to sell these to flippers as well, who are going to hold on to them and try to sell them on the aftermarket for even more than $50. I know. I think they know exactly what they're doing. Anyways, I think that's enough. I think I've gone long enough. There's examples of things that have whatever. I will point this out. Okay, price point wise, these Monster Force figures at $36, $37 on Big Bad Toy Store have at least as many accessories as those Spider-Man figures do, and probably way more. Like with all the little bits and pieces that you get and the interchangeable stuff and the hoses, like these don't even show everything that you get. Like this guy comes with more hoses than it shows, and it comes with more of these connectors. Like these figures are to me, these are the examples that I'm using now for like, oh, it should come with more accessories. People are like, oh, it's more expensive or whatever. These are $37, $36, $37. Some of their like exclusive or like deluxe ones are $40. Okay. These figures will be less than $50. And these are coming from a company that like is hoping to sell 500 units of each. I know how much these cost to make. I know what the margins are. I know, and that's based on, I'm saying I know what our margins are, what our costs are. I don't see that Spider-Man as being anywhere near $50 in value. Anyway, that's my rant over. Let's go through the chat and then we'll talk about a couple other things. Ray says, okay, so this is where we'll start it off, and I'm sure there's tons of comments. I wasn't even watching them come in. I scrolled up and then it kind of locks it so that I have no idea how far behind I am in the comments right now, but I will try to fly through them as quickly as I can, and then we'll move on to some other toy news. Ray says, if we are going to talk smack, I'm down. I have my thoughts as well. And Ray, you and I don't always agree on everything. I love exclusives. I think they should be hard to find, and I think you don't. Artificial scarcity is different, though. I think, if you announce something as like a readily available thing, like this isn't a con exclusive or something like that. I don't know why they're going to make it hard to get. Anyways, Brick says, I won't announce the death of toys at retail, but Hasbro, Mattel, etc. are having a hard time selling mass retail toys, and this maximum pricing is just another symptom of that. Got my popcorn and seat. I think this is just a misguided, in a nutshell, I think this is a misguided attempt by Hasbro executives to try to get a piece of what the indie guys have, but they've missed the mark, because people aren't buying Hasbro product and sort of seeing it as though it's a Moff X, or seeing it as though it's a Super 7, or seeing it as though it's like anything else. People are looking at this and going, well, it's still Marvel Legends, though. That's why I said, have they jumped the shark? Like, are Marvel Legends trying to be something that they're not? I mean, I think a $30 figure is where they're gonna make money. I think if they're struggling to make money at that price point, it's because either the offering is wrong, or they're offering too many figures, or people only need so many Spider-Mans, or whatever. I think jacking the price up almost 100%. I mean, it's 100% if they're $25. If you're paying 27, it's not quite 100%. But jacking your price up 100% is not the way forward for these guys. I just don't see it. Justin Mohan says Hasbro's taking lesson from Super 7 with this. If Super 7 did this, we would all be fine with it, and it would have less articulation. I mean, Super 7, I think, has a different model, and they're doing a different thing. I've said it before, and I'm not Super 7. I wish they were $45. At $45, I think they would. I think they would sell a lot more. But 55 is the price point that they're at. I don't know their back end. I don't know what their costing is. I don't know what their overhead is. I don't know any of that stuff. But when you look at this maximum Spider-Man at $50 and you look at a Super 7 for 55, articulation aside, Super 7 has like at least this many accessories and this many sets of hands and stuff like that, or they did for a long time. They've cut back. So I don't know. The arguments that people have for other companies, I think, lose some weight if they allow Marvel Legends to be $50 for this. So somebody's got to do a review in comparison to the Renew Your Vows, Spidey. I'm sure lots of people will, and I look forward to those. Like, genuinely, I'm very, very curious. Ray Paz, why didn't they fix the way the elbows and the knees look when they are in the bad position? They look awful. I didn't even mention those, but knees and elbows, yes, the way they do their knees and elbows could have been improved. If you're doing an all-new articulation scheme and it's a ground-up, sculpt, why can't you fix those? Like, why can't you do something a little bit better, a little bit different? Justin Mohan, he has thunder thighs. I didn't mention that either. Those chunky legs, I don't like, but that's the design that they went with. So, Brick, good point. This Maximum Spider-Man figure doesn't even come with zombie heads or a ukulele. I mean, that's the standard. That's the standard now. The Peter Parker head should have been different. I also hope they thought in advance so people can use the Renew Your Vow head on this. The extra Spidey head should be different. The extra Spidey head is a little bit different. It's kind of like a puzzled kind of eye. One of the eyes is a little bigger than the other one. Now, using this head on that, I don't think it would work because the Tampo. Oh, I didn't even talk about the paint. They talked about there's so much paint on here. It's a Tampo. They load it onto a stamp and they stick it on there. It's not like somebody has to paint those lines on by hand. There's more lines than on this one, but it's one Tampo. It doesn't. We're not talking about like paint apps. We're talking about a Tampo. And where this guy has web lines, that has web lines. It'll be the same cost-wise, to the best of my knowledge, as this guy would be for the paint apps or whatever they're. But the web lines on this head are far fewer than what you get on the maximum. You get the maximum number of web lines on the maximum Spider-Man. Didn't this almost sell out anyways? It did, but like I said, artificial scarcity. I think they released a small number. I think they're going to make way more than that. But your comment was probably before I said that. I'm gonna skip some. A lot of the budget was spent on the packaging and art for the packaging. That's my guess. Maybe, I don't know. Ray says, I like the shield. I wish they could have made the backpack. I wish they would have made the backpack made out of webbing. Okay, so interestingly, in the listing, when they're talking about like all the accessories that it come with, in a couple places they actually said that it comes with a backpack. I have not seen that anywhere in the pictures. I haven't seen it listed anywhere when they talked about it, but it was listed in there. I wanted to see that too. Brick says people will consume what they're attracted to. Spidey's the most popular hero in the world. This will sell well. It will sell well. So the like I said, that artificial scarcity is just, in a way, it's kind of like tricking people into thinking like this is the best price you're going to pay for this figure, which, like I said, ethically, it's icky. At 35, I would have bought two. At 40, at least one. Now I'll wait for it to go on sale, which will happen. I'm not betting on it. I'm not playing clearance chicken with this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this, at $40 before too long. A foam version of that would have been cool, or yeah, sure. Alton Troy says Hasbro CEO is a dumpster fire and prices are going up because he thinks he can milk collectors. Don't ask why and be confused. Just don't buy it. So this behavior isn't rewarded. I agree. I agree 100%. I think it's you're gonna get this Spider-Man sculpt again, and it's not gonna be $50 because they're gonna have to figure out a way to reuse this. They reuse everything. You're gonna see this guy again. Let's see. Ray says, "I love the Renew Your Vows, Spidey. It's awesome. It is. It really is. And I don't need a better version. I'm good with this. Ethically gray. Yeah, it's muddy and foggy and gross and yeah. Yeah, exactly. Why is Declan Helsing not available? That's why I have not bothered ordering. I think he sold out. Because I think once people got Monster Force stuff in hand and the reviews came out and people that were on the fence saw that they were really good figures and really good value, they sold out. I think it's on pre-order. I think they're going to make more of them. So I passed on him, but I'll definitely get that exclusive one that you can get at conventions. Jeff Morris, thank you for this. He says, I would rather buy one of your new figures than that, Spidey. I will save my money. Are they black? Are the black to? Oh, we'll get back to that. That's a zombie thing. Justin Mohan says, it's funny how when collectors get real information about toy production, they can call out Hasbro. Adam, you now know what's going on. The thing is, I've known a lot about this stuff before, which is sort of why I was always curious about it. I always wanted to know how toys are made and like what the process is, and like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that like a figure, that there isn't markup along the way, right? Everybody has to make a little bit of money, otherwise no one would do it. But I know how much we're going to pay to make an astronaut, and I'm sure that their price per unit is lower than ours, and I'm sure that their like in-house stuff is lower than ours. Now their operating budget, their overhead, me as a CEO, if you want to call me a CEO, I'm not getting a bonus this year. So I mean, there's a whole lot of money that goes nowhere. It doesn't go back into the toys. So that's part of it too. Um, and my mouse is dying. And I hope it doesn't die. But Brick says, going back to your dad's lesson, price is dictated by what people will pay. It's never an objective measurement of value. So Hasbro is doing what they're doing to secure their market. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, hey, can we sell these for $50? If so, let's do it. So if they're sold out, they've sold some, and I've looked. Big Bad Toy Store sold out. eCollectibles is sold out. Like, I think they're pretty much sold out everywhere. Now, I don't know if they sort of told retailers you're only allowed this many and more will be available, later. I don't know, but anyway. And this is a very good point, and I totally agree with this, Brick. He says most Legends collectors may not be fully aware of both the import options or what's happening in indie toys, so they aren't getting your finer points. Yeah, and I mean, that's totally fair, right? If you're just a Marvel Legends collector, you might not know that for $60 to $70 like landed cost, you could probably get the Mafex Classic Spider-Man, which is a fantastic Spider-Man. Eric Dry just said, I am a huge comic reader. I just want the different characters. I have enough of all the primary characters. Yeah, and I think that's, how many Spider-Mans do you need? How many Hulks do you need? How many Captain Americas will people buy? I think all of that's coming into play. How many Spider-Mans have been released were released in 2024? I don't know, because I didn't buy any. But there was a good few, right? So it's sort of like, that's also part of it, is like, you're not, not everybody needs this Spider-Man. He's an evergreen character. He's the most, he's arguably the most popular superhero in the world. But I don't know. Does that mean that we need 12 of them a year? Does that mean that people will buy 12 of them a year? What's really interesting here is that this is just the first of more Maximum Series figures. Yeah. And they've said they're going to do Hulk, and Hulk is typically a $50 figure. So if Marvel Legends are 25 and Hulk's like 50 and Maximum is 50, is Hulk $100? Are people going to pay $100 for a Hulk figure? Is he going to have articulated fingers and toes? I mean, I'm just looking at the Hulk that I have, which is the Hulk that came in a 2-pack with Wolverine. It's fantastic. I don't need another Hulk figure. It's a great Hulk action figure. And they've done 3 or 4 since this, and I've just, cool. I don't know. Yeah. And Brick says, objectively, Spider-Man is the most popular superhero in the world. I suspect now I know where you might be getting that information. When you say a corporate insider, I'm pretty sure I know who would have that information that you would have access to. So I believe you. I mean, he's in the MCU. He's huge in comic books. He's got the cartoons. It's a Disney product now. Like, yeah, I totally get it. Batman is more popular. I don't think globally Batman is more popular. I think if you, I think gross dollars, you know, that get paid into one kind of thing. I think that's probably the metric, and I think it's not Batman, and that's partly DC's fault, probably. um, yeah, no, yeah, this is a good point. I've never had any inclination to buy a lava blast or whatever variant. There's a few Batman variants that I bought, back in the day. Um, you know what? Rick Jones says, I hope they get to villains. Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom, if you did him with like, a table and books and like some of that like arcane kind of macabre stuff, I think it could be cool. And if it's $50 and it's a figure plus a whole bunch of stuff that we've never had before, like maybe. I mean, the Spider-Man isn't there for me value wise, but they might be able to do something that is, you know. Spider-Man is the everyman. I mean, Spider-Man is the every nerd. So every one of us collectors probably were nerds or are nerds, whether it was from childhood or whether it's, later. I think Spider-Man is more relatable for most of us. Because you're right, Batman's just a rich dude. And Justin, yeah, you're going on comic sales, but comic sales amount to probably peanuts when it comes to like the other stuff, right? So I think Batman's got like 37 titles on the wall. Anyways, should we move on? Should we move on from Spider-Man? I hope it's great. I hope it's worth $50. I hope the plastic quality is superior to what we've typically gotten from Marvel Legends. And then we'll all, well, I can't speak for everybody. I'll come on here and admit it. I mean, if everybody reviews it and they say this is totally worth $50 and I have the opportunity to pick one up at less than $50, I will, and I will concede if that's the case, but we'll see. Anyways, should we bring this back up? You guys want to talk about this for a minute? I only brought this up as a reference and to drop this in. But I think Ray, you mentioned the blacked out stuff. This blacked out stuff. So these are new renders. So we've kind of tweaked the renders so that the shadowed stuff is more evident there. You'll have to wait and see. I will tell you this much: if we hit all of our stretch goals, you will know what all of those things are. So to make it a little bit less, to make it a little more obvious what I'm saying, stretch goals for the Kickstarter will include additional pack-ins for the figures at no extra charge to people that back the figures. The items that are shadowed represent 2 stretch goals. So there's there are 2 separate stretch goals that sort of add additional stuff in with the figures. And so as we sort of unlock them, we will actually update the renders on the Kickstarter page, and you will be able to see what these things are. And I've said this, and I stand by this. What you don't see, in my opinion, are like the most fun things that you get, sort of in terms of like this line. And I think they kind of like speak to like what this line is, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, maybe we'll reveal them sooner rather than later. But for now, you just get shadows, and you'll have to kind of like guess what you're getting in there. And I will not confirm or deny any guesses that people make. This is actually a really clever idea and really funny. You should do a zombie leg lamp accessory, put it out for Christmas. That's a good thought, and I'm actually gonna write that one down. I don't know if we can do it or not, or whether it would make sense. But in my head, I'm like thinking about how you could do it. I'm just thinking about whether it would make sense to do it or not. Anyways, maybe. I'm not saying no, but I'm saying maybe. Justin Mohan says, "How excited are you about your Kickstarter?" Okay, so I will tell you this. there was a few things that had to get done that I was really anxious about, and I've had a huge amount of stress in the last couple weeks about it. Those boxes have been checked, and basically we are pretty much good to go at this point. And so now I've gotten to the point of excitement. I'm past the anxiety, and now I'm at excitement. Certain things kind of have worked themselves out, and so I'm very, very excited about the Kickstarter. But the Kickstarter's not up for a couple more weeks. So in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about some other toy stuff. This also was sort of released up for pre-order right now. So you can get either the Egon, you can kind of get everything that's not in these boxes, the Egon with the trap and the pack and the little sort of ghosty in the trap, and then this not Slimer for $101. You can get the exclusive sort of timed bundle or whatever they sort of call it for $202, which includes this big ghostly guy. These are wild. These are not something that I collect. Again, the price point for me, I'm just not a big enough fan. Are they worth this? If they are to you, that is great. I think these look phenomenal. I genuinely do. And I'm bringing these up because I'm talking about a figure that I believe is overpriced. I believe these are overpriced. I'll be perfectly honest. I think these are overpriced. I think these are in line with what Mondo does. And that's the way their business model works. Again, I don't know the behind the scenes numbers. I don't know how much it costs to get this license. I don't know how much it costs to make these. I don't know any of those numbers. These feel too expensive to me. But that's just my personal opinion. As I said, they look fantastic. I know a lot of Ghostbusters fans that are absolutely loving these and have ordered them and are excited. And so I just wanted to highlight this because they look phenomenal and they got released, and I do think they're cool. Not for me though. And Justin says Mondo is the only company making these, no competition. There is an aspect of that, and I hope they're not sort of taking advantage of that fact. But this price point, it's a bit, it's tough for me. Brick says you need this for a shelf with Boogeyman, Sugarman, and MODOK. Well, I have Sugarman and I don't have MODOK, so I'd have to get a MODOK as well. Right past this out of my price range, and that's fair. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like this is, it's not for everybody. It's small market, and I think that's part of it. Is that based on the units that they're going to make? This is more expensive. So there's aspects of that. I don't really have much to say about it, to be perfectly honest. They look rad, and if they were considerably less, I would consider buying them. I will be buying a couple of these. So this is, of course, the Four Horsemen Retailer Appreciation Wave for 2025. Effectively repaints of figures that have already been released or sort of redos, rejigging. There's no new parts. Everything is just a version of something that already exists. But there's some really, really cool stuff in here. These, I didn't buy the Figura Obscura releases, and I will not be buying the retailer versions of these either. Very, very cool. I do like this colorway, the sort of black cats, the black Anubis, more than the brown ones. But Egyptian stuff doesn't really fit, and I don't need them, so I'm passing on them. But they're really, really cool. I do prefer the soft goods, and sort of like I do prefer the colorway for the female figure more on the original than this red. That being said, I actually prefer this release for the Anubis. This I got. I think it's just off camera, but I got the ghosts because these are fantastic. This one, if you prefer that Jacob Marley in the blue, I think this is sort of a cool one to get. For me, the fact that they match is actually more reason for me to get the original versions, because I like that they don't match. I want all of them now, and if all of them are done in this blue color, um, that to me is a little it's a little bland to me personally. But if you like it, that's cool. You get your blue ghosts, and cool. Green Frankenstein, I'm down. I really, really like this. If this is in the budget, I think I'll pick this guy up. Um, and then actually use him for parts. So he would become like a I want some of these parts to sort of go with other figures. I actually want one of the Frankenstein heads with hair to put on a Xylona's flock character to be kind of like a swamp thing type creature, but actually a good guy. The stitching in the head is a little bit not my thing, but I mean that's kind of why I would want this guy. And then all the equipment stuff like that would probably go with my Monster Force stuff. So um I'm digging this version. I'm digging the green version. I think this was sort of the obvious choice for the second version, for the retailer release version. But I think it works. I've seen a bunch of people say that the other version is more the literary accurate one, but for me this is the Universal Monsters one. And for a lot of people, Universal Monsters is the version of Frankenstein that they know and love, right? If I have one complaint about this one, I wish there was one more head, and I wish it was, new and included with this green version. I wish they did the blockhead, flat top head and put it in there. That being said, I'm sure there's going to be a third party, sculptor and 3D printed, aftermarket head that would work for this. And so I'm not really worried in that respect. You could buy this and probably get that head after the fact, which is probably the way that I will go personally. Next up is the Tusk, whatever they call this. It's a Horde Trooper. It looks awesome. I have not seen any pictures with this helmet on him, which I think would be, maybe it's a little too on the nose, and so I'm wondering whether that's why we haven't seen a picture with that helmet on, because maybe that makes it too Horde Trooper, and then it gets a little too much attention from Mattel. But the colorway on this is fantastic. Horde Trooper or not, I think this is a really, really solid offering in for your Cosmic Legions collection. The red of the weapons is a little bit on the nose for me. I think they would benefit from a wash or something, maybe some black painted on there to cover up some of the red. It's a little too much red for those accessories, but other than that, this thing looks phenomenal. And if I was buying Cosmic Legions, I would probably pick up probably 2 of these because it's a Horde Trooper. Which brings us to the Snake Man. This is phenomenal. This I absolutely love. This checks so many boxes for me. It's anthropomorphic. It's a snake. It can be a Xylona's flock figure. It has translucent stuff that comes with it. It has a cool soft goods cape that I will probably buy 2 of these so that I can take one and put it on an AWOC figure and keep one, on this figure. Love this one. Absolutely love this. I was not a fan of the Ninian Infantry. Ninian Infantry? Is that right? Is that what it's called? Regardless, this is awesome. I love this. Absolutely love this. I thought we might get something with like the monk body that we got in the Legions Con 2-pack. But in a weird way, this is like monk adjacent. I like that we've got some Cosmic Legion parts in here. So those the shins and the forearms are, I believe, from Cosmic Legion. I don't think we've seen these out released yet, because I think they're in the Ox Crew wave. And then the snake, parts we've seen in the Ninian Infantry. Everything else is existing parts that we've seen and had released for a while. But yeah, a green snake, this looks beautifully painted, and I think can cross over into other lines, whether that's going to be your Masterverse stuff, whether that's your Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, whether that or whether you just have Mythic Legions and you just love this figure. I think this thing looks really, really good. The green snake guy is new, I think. It's sort of. So like I said, it has the shins and the wrists that have not come out, but they've been released or sort of revealed and pre-ordered on other figures. Other than that, I think everything is like a stock part. They've just picked different parts to put them together. So I guess in that way it's new. It's a new character. It's not just a straight one-to-one repaint. Let's see. Let's see. Ray Pass says, I'm still waiting on my Frankenstein to ship. Should be any day now. Green Snake Man is new. Yes. And again, like Justin sort of says, to sort of clarify what I'm saying, these are parts that we've seen just in different colors. There's no new parts here. Love the green snake. Happy Year of the Snake. Yeah, I think if they were going to release snakes, the Year of the Snake's probably the best year to do it. Brick said, I will successfully avoid all of these retailer appreciation. I will successfully avoid all of these retailer appreciation figures. Good thing, needed a break because all the Four Horsemen stuff this year has got me. These I can skip. Even this. And Ray Pass says, I do love my Jada Universal Monsters Frankenstein. Yeah. Justin said, do you ever watch the Four Horsemen podcast with Jeremy? Yes, I do. I watched that one, and I watched the Four Horsemen O'Clock, or whatever it's called. Oh, okay. So I haven't watched that one. I've been too busy the last month and a half, 2 months, which is when they've been talking about these. They won't use the Horde helmet for legal reasons. Okay. So it's exactly what I thought. It's too on the nose, and it would be too Horde Trooper. Thanos says, I really dig the green snake. Rick Jones says, finally a green snake. Ogre scale snake man would be pretty good. And they do have the body, don't they? Because they have the dragon. So, it's new, unlike the Figure Obscura retail versions. Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's semantics, I guess. Yes, the Snake Man is new, but the parts are old. But they're not. I mean, they're not even old. I just mean there's no new parts. Anyways, Larry says I might grab a couple of these. Soft goods fixed the neck again. I agree. And yeah, I agree. And Brick says even this. He's skipping even this. Well, that's you can pick it up later. You'll find it later. Moving on to Jada Street Fighter. Blanca and Sagat got released. These are awesome. I am very, very excited about these. Sagat less so, but still looks phenomenal. The toe articulation is hidden perfectly here, and I think you need it for this character. The way he poses in that kickboxer stance with his foot sort of like almost floating. Where just his toes are on the ground, kind of thing. You need the toe articulation in this, and I'm super, super happy that they have that. I'm curious to see scale wise how these work with the other figures. I know that these are going to be bigger. I know that they're going to be scaled up from the other guys, but I'm just curious how much. Curious, this picture doesn't really indicate it. I think Blanca will be shorter than Sagat. He clearly looks like he's wider and kind of thicker. But it's hard to say because they're also in different poses, and those they're not sort of they're not zoomed the same, right? So we're not looking at like a 1-to-1 with those pictures, I don't think. But anyway, as I said, they look phenomenal. Street Fighter figures, I've yet to get one that I was disappointed with. Blanca looks rad. I do have a little bit of a nitpick. I wish there was a little bit of texture. And admittedly, I don't know, like, I don't know the backstory of Blanca well enough, but to me, he's more of an animal. So I would have liked to see like more kind of fur texture on him, but maybe he doesn't have fur texture. Maybe this is green skin. I just in my head thought he was kind of like hairier, and I don't know, he has the little orange tufts of hair. I get that there's hair, he's hairy, but I always sort of thought that it was just it was a problem. It like you didn't see the fur because of the pixelation on video games. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that was just in my head canon. So I'm gonna have to sort of come to terms with the fact that Blanca isn't furry like Beast from the X-Men is. So um let's see. Ray Paz says already purchased or already pre-ordered. So did I. Instant pre-order on these. I'm waiting on the reviews before I jump on Storm Arena. You know what? The Street Fighter Storm Arena stuff looks kind of weird. I'll admit they've gone with a little bit of a different design aesthetic, and I don't care for it. I really just want the Darkstalkers in the Storm Arena, so I'm really looking forward to the Darkstalkers. But to me, it'll be like a separate thing, so the aesthetic doesn't have to like line up with this. So we'll see. Thanos says I imagined him furry too. I don't know. And I don't need flocking. I just want like texture. You know what I mean? Like I don't even need it painted. I just want it to kind of look like he would be hairier. Anyway. Brick says, do you know how tall these are? Big Bad Toy Store says 6-inch. Maybe I'm mistaken them for Thunderhawk size, but would have sworn Sagat would be taller. Was hoping he's sized up like Legion's AWOC. I think he is. I think Big Bad Toy Store is kind of referencing the scale more so than the size, because I think every figure has said that. But they've all been a little bit different. Like they're not all the same height. Like the ones we already have not been the same size. So I'd have to dig a little bit deeper. But when we've seen them in display cases, like at San Diego Comic-Con and stuff like that, they've been different sizes. Just how they pose them, you can't necessarily tell exactly like how tall or short or whatever. You know, Blanca, especially when he's in his little crouch pose, you're never gonna get a great idea of how tall he is. So June has said that they would be taller. Yes. So, Hedgehog Action says, I'm still on the hunt for the old Soda Toys glow in the dark Blanca at shows. That will be my Blanca. I don't know that one. Now I'm going to have to look that one up. Not right now. I'll do it later, but I got to remind myself to look it up, because I don't even know what that is. But now I want to glow in the dark Blanca too. Blanca was probably always my favorite. So, but I'm not a huge Street Fighter guy. I just really love these figures. It's a fun line. Let's see. Odious is covered in fur. That's true. Odious is covered in fur. I see Storm has Gotcha Man. Hope they make those in Storm Arena size. Would love G-Force in my collection. Yeah, they've done a few of them. I think, or like 2 or 3. I think. I don't know that they're going to be in the Storm Arena because they're not like arena fighting characters. But who knows? Yeah. Rick Jones says very rare figure, glow in the dark. Okay. So maybe I won't be getting that one. I can't correct you on this. So you may be right, and this might be the accurate sort of backstory for Blanca. GameQuest says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe lore for Blanca was that his skin turned green over time in the jungle. Okay, so he got sort of filled with, chloroform or chlorophyll, not chloroform. He got filled with like chloroform, and turned green. If he got filled with chloroform, he'd be dead, right? I don't know. All right, let's should we move past Jada and wrap things up here? Just a reminder, Kickstarter goes live March 1st for the Space Zombies from Mars. We will be talking more about these in the next couple weeks. If you're interested, check out the Instagram page. T&T Co on Instagram. That's where you'll get sort of the latest news and updates and reveals. It's easier and quicker and more simple and straightforward still on Instagram than it is on Facebook. So we're just kind of we're just using that for now. You will get a Facebook page together one of these days, but Facebook pages for most toy companies, they're I don't know, they're kind of lame. We will be on Toyleet, so over on Action Fig's channel on Tuesday, actually, this week. Is that right? Tuesday the 18th. We will be over there. If you don't know how to get there, as I said, follow the Instagram page. I'll put a story up there, and I'll have a post and all that kind of stuff. So I will I'll have it in there, and so that will be the way to see that. I'll try to post something on YouTube as well. So if you're a subscriber, I think you'll get the notification. Also, Arlen, Ira, and myself are going to be recording a video. We're going to kind of go through a whole bunch of stuff about the Kickstarter. We're going to go through, it's like a meet and greet, get to know your sculptor and your lore guy. That's going to be recorded though. And we're going to try to do that in the next couple of days and get that out. It will definitely get posted earlier for members. So if you're not a member and you want to see that video sooner rather than later, feel free to join. However, it'll probably be like a day or two early for members. So if you don't want to become a member, I totally understand. Save your money for the Kickstarter, and you'll it's like $1. But anyways, more to come. More to come on Space Zombies from Mars. I will leave you with one more thing. That's going to be the reveal for Tuesday. It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, you must have seen this one coming. So this is the Engineer Red Walker, which is sort of in line with what we've gotten from all the other factions, from all the other divisions. We've done an astronaut that matches a zombie for all 5 of the colorways. Now we still have one Tuesday before we launch. And I think, is that right? One Tuesday after this one. So Tuesday is the 18th, and we still have the 25th. So we have one more figure to reveal on the 25th. And then, as I said, we got one more reveal to reveal on the 28th, the day before we launch. But yeah, stay tuned. Kickstarter is going to launch March 1st. And soon I should be able to sort of share. Can you show everything you've shown to date? I could. I mean, it's all on the Instagram page. Everything that we've shown to date has been on here. So, this is probably the best. I've been saying this, like your best bet to sort of be the most up to date is Instagram. But I mean, I can go through all of them. So we revealed, right past those, no Instagram. Okay, so here I'll go through these quickly. So we got the Green Astronaut, we got Toy Collector Magazine. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Green Astronaut, the Retro Spike Spectre, Red Astronaut, the retro sort of red astronaut zombie, and then the green zombie. And then we got the science division with Julia Stryker and a zombie to match that one. We've got the medical division with Dr. Michael Locke and the zombie to match that one. Then we've got engineering which we haven't revealed the zombie to match that one, but that's what we've revealed so far. Now, if you know of another show, another channel that you think we should be on, feel free to let us know, either on Instagram. If you don't have, well, we're pretty much doing it on Instagram, but message me, put it in the comments. You know, also reach out to that channel. We've sort of got a bunch of videos lined up, but we do still have a few days where we can add a video. So we want to talk to everybody. We want to sort of reach as many people as we possibly can. And, you know, the best way to do that, I think, for toy collecting is probably, you know, Instagram and YouTube. So we're trying to do that. You know, we're trying to go as hard as we can with those. So Ray Paz, I don't know. I messaged him, but I haven't heard anything back. So hopefully, but I don't get to decide. So so yeah, there you go. That's where we're at with that stuff. As always, Brick will be on in about 15 minutes. So if you want more toy news, head on over to Brick Something's channel and check that out. It's been fun. Thank you for letting me rant. Thank you for thank you for humoring me. Hopefully it wasn't I mean, I don't look, I try not to be negative. I try not to be too subjective. I know that a lot of what I said was entirely subjective. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you buy a $50 Spider-Man, how much will the next Spider-Man be? That's my biggest concern, if I'm being perfectly honest. Is that, you know, if people agree to this, like, what is Hasbro gonna believe you're agreeing to? I don't know. So that's where I'm kind of, I'm just a little bit worried. That being said, you know what? Forget Hasbro. Go buy Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Go buy some Savage Crucible figures. Go buy some Monster Force figures. Go buy, you know, a whole bunch of different IPs from a bunch of really cool creators. There's so many third-party, you know, companies out there. There's so many indie toys lines out there right now. Do you really need that stuff? I mean, we all have a Spider-Man already. And if you don't, you could go buy a different one. Check out the indie guys. Check out Kickstarters. Check out Space Zombies from Mars. But you don't have to either. You know, like I said, buy what you like. I just hope everybody, you know, gets what they love. And you know, if you want this Spider-Man, it's sold out. You know, don't fret. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So, that's all I got. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye. I think I pulled that up before I started waving, but just know that I was waving goodbye.